When the silence finally breaks, I see you standing there. Not in the noise of crowns, but in the weight you chose to bear. You stayed when others walked away, through shadows cold and long, holding on to something true when everything felt wrong. No spotlight on your story, no applause in the night, just the quiet kind of courage, choosing what is right. And I almost missed it, the beauty in your scars. The ones who walk with honesty don't always shine like stars. But now I see, now I know, the truth is found in those who don't let go. Through the distance, through the pain, through the loss and endless rain. You were there when I was lost, when I couldn't find my way, not asking for a reason, still you chose to stay. And I won't forget the heart that didn't turn aside, even when the world was shifting like a restless tide. So I'm coming back with open eyes, no more blinded by disguise. I will honor what is real, every unseen thing I feel. Not by power, not by fame, not by chasing empty names, but by walking side by side with the ones who never hide. If I rise, I will rise alone. I remember every stone, every voice that called me through, every quiet, steady truth. There's a road that leads to light, built on what we choose as right. Not the loudest, not the fast, but the love that always lasts. So take my hand, we'll walk it through, every broken piece made new. In the end, what carries on is the heart that stayed strong. Through the waiting, through the years, through the unseen silent tears, there's a strength that still remains, flowing deeper than the pain. And I'll stand again, with a purpose deeper than all the noise that fades away. Truth is what will always stay.
No tutu. I walked the road I didn't choose, with questions in my chest, carrying the weight of time, no promise of what's next. The days were long, the nights were cold, the silence growing deep, holding on to something I could barely even keep. I saw the ones who turned away when storms began to rise, chasing after safer ground, believing in disguise. But there were those who stayed behind, through every shifting flame, not for glory or for gain, not even for a name. They stood when it was harder, they stayed when it was pain. They held on to the truth when there was nothing left to gain. And in their quiet presence, something woke in me, a strength I never noticed, a deeper way to see. So I won't run when shadows fall, I won't break beneath it all. There's a fire that still remains, even in the pouring rain. Every step, every scar brought me closer to who we are. Not the surface, not the show, but the truth we choose to hold. If I fall, I'll rise again, stronger than I've ever been. Not because the road is clear, but because 'cause I know you're here. There's a voice beyond the noise, calling hearts to make a choice. Not the easy, not the fast, but the kind of strength that lasts. And I can feel it in my soul, every broken, shattered hope coming back to life again. Through the loss, through the end, we are more than what we see. More than fear will let us be. There's a purpose in the pain, there's a light beyond the rain. So I'll keep walking through the night, guided by a deeper light. Even when I can't explain why I'm standing in the rain. I remember every hand that helped me learn to stand, every word that pulled me through, every quiet, steady truth. And I will be that light someday for another lost along the way. Holding on when hope feels gone, showing them they still belong. This is more than just a fight, it's a journey into light, where the broken find their place and the weak discover grace. So don't let go, don't lose your way. Even in your darkest day, there's a reason you're still here. There's a voice that's always near. And when the world feels far too cold and your story feels untold, just remember what is true. There is strength inside of you. There was a time I lost the way, somewhere between the noise, chasing shadows dressed like dreams, mistaking them for choice. I ran so fast I couldn't see what mattered in the end, till everything I leaned upon began to slowly bend. The voices loud, they pulled me in with promises so bright, but faded like a morning star that disappears in light. And in the quiet, after all the echoes disappeared, I found a deeper calling voice I'd never really heard. It didn't shout, it didn't rush, it didn't need a name, but in its calm and steady tone, it set my heart aflame. It spoke of paths that few would take, it lead to something true, a road where what you give away comes back to carry you. So I turned around, I faced the wind, let go of what had always been. Not the easy, not the known, but the place where truth is grown. Every step felt unsure at first, like healing something long since cursed. But in the breaking, I could see a stronger version waking in me. I saw the ones who chose to stay when everything had slipped away, not held by fear, not chained by pride, but something deeper, deep inside. They didn't need the world to know, they didn't chase the outward show, but built their lives on something real, a quiet strength you cannot steal. And now I walk a different line, not measured by the hands of time, but by the things that won't erase. Even when I lose the race, if I fall, I'll learn to rise, not through fear but open eyes, knowing every loss I face is shaping who I will embrace. There's a fire that won't burn out, even buried under doubt. There's a truth that still remains, flowing deeper than the pain. So I won't trade this path I found for empty heights or hollow crowns. I've seen enough to understand what truly helps a heart to stand. It's not the power, not the fame, not being known or having a name, but choosing right when no one sees, standing tall on quiet knees. And if the road gets hard to bear, if no one seems to even care,
rushing not in might, but in choosing what is right.
So take the sand if you feel lost. Even hope comes with a cost, but what you gain will always be more than what you used to see. We are shaped by what we choose, not by what we fear to lose. And in the end, when all is gone, truth is what we're standing on. Through the silence, through the fall, through the rise that follows all, there's a meaning we can find in the depths we leave behind.
So I'll keep walking, come what may, even if I lose my way. There's a truth that pulls me through, and it's calling me. And you.
I stood at the edge of everything I thought I knew, with empty hands, no map to guide me through. The world was loud, but something felt unclear, like I was running fast, but going nowhere near. I built my life on what I thought would last, but fragile things were breaking way too fast. Every step I took to prove that I was strong left me feeling like I didn't belong. Then in the silence deeper than before, I heard a whisper I could not ignore, not pulling me with force or blinding light, but gently calling me to what is right. It said, don't rush, don't lose your soul. Not every broken path needs control. There's something stronger than what you see, a deeper truth that sets you free. So I let go of who I try to be, and face the fear of losing everything, and every tear and every hidden scar. I found the strength I didn't know I had. I saw the ones who walked a different way, not chasing things that always fade away. They held on to a quiet kind of fire, a steady heart that never seemed to tire. They didn't need the world to understand. They built their lives on something they could stand, not shaken by the storms that came and went. Their strength was rooted deeper than the present. So now I walk though I don't know it all. I've learned there's meaning even in the fall. Every step, every uncertain turn is shaping something stronger as I learn. And if the road grows dark and hard to see, I'll trust the voice that's guiding me to be not who the world is trying to define, but someone grounded in a deeper line. There's more to life than what we try to gain, more than avoiding every kind of pain. Sometimes the loss is what will make you whole. Sometimes the breaking is what builds your soul. So I won't fear the unknown anymore. I felt a deeper strength worth fighting for. Even when the night feels far too long, there's something in me still holding on. I'll choose the path if you are brave to take, not for reward but for the truth it makes. And even if no one will ever see, I'll know that something real is shaping me. Through every doubt, through every fall, through every time I lose it all, there's a truth that stands the test, calling out from deep within my chest. So take a breath, don't run away. Even the dark will fade today. There's a reason you are here, even when it's not yet clear. When you feel you've lost your place, when nothing else seems left to chase, just hold on to what is true. still guiding you, still guiding me. I was walking through a season I could not understand, with questions in my heart and no answers in my hands. Every door I try to open slowly closed again, and I began to wonder if I'd reach the end. The weight of all the waiting felt too much to hold. Every silent moment turned my courage cold. I tried to find a reason, tried to find a sign, but all I found was emptiness I couldn't redefine. Then somewhere in the stillness, far beneath the noise, I felt a quiet strength that didn't need a voice. It didn't promise easy, it didn't clear the way, but gave me just enough to stand another day. So I kept moving forward, step by fragile step, holding on to something I could not see yet. Through the doubt, through the fear, there was something drawing near. Not in sudden answers, not in shining light, but in the will to keep on going through the night. Every breath became a choice I had to make, to trust that something stronger was at stake. I saw the ones who didn't turn away, even when the sky had turned to gray. They carried something deeper in their soul, a kind of strength that made the broken whole. They didn't need the world to understand, they simply chose to take a stand. Not by force, not by might, but by holding on to what is right. And I began to see it in my own life too, a quiet transformation breaking through. Every loss was shaping something real, every wound was teaching me to feel. So I won't run from what I fear, there's a purpose even here. In the waiting, in the pain, nothing ever is in vain. If the road gets hard to see, I'll remember what's in me. Not the doubt that pulls me down, but the truth that stands its ground. I will rise to let me fall. There's a reason through it all, not by chance, not by fate, but by choices that I make. There's a fire I can't deny, even when I question why. It keeps burning deep inside, like a steady, endless tide. So I'll keep walking through the storm, even when I'm tired and worn. There's a strength that's growing still, far beyond my fragile will. And when the night feels far too long, when I feel like I don't belong, I will hold to what is true, even if I can't see through. There's a future being made through the price I've had to pay. Every step, every tear is leading somewhere from here. So don't give up, don't let it go. There is more than you may know. Even now you're not alone. There's a strength that's being grown, and one day you will see what this journey came to be. Every moment, every scar shaped you into who you are. I came from roads that never felt like home, carrying dreams I built alone. Every step was just a fight to stand, with fading hope slipping through my hands. I tried to be what they would understand, chasing shadows, reaching out again. But every time I thought I'd arrived, something inside me felt denied. So I slowed down in the middle
something time can't steal. I saw the ones who chose the narrow way, holding on when others couldn't stay. Not because it made them strong, but because they knew where they belong. They didn't fear the cost it brings. They didn't need the temporary things. They built their lives on something deep, a truth no storm could ever sweep. And I began to understand the quiet power of a steady hand, not reaching out for empty praise, but walking through the hardest days. So if I fall, I'll rise once more, not like I've ever done before, with eyes that see beyond the pain and a heart that doesn't chase in vain. There's a fire that won't grow dim, even when the chances feel so slim. There's a voice that gently leads through the doubt and broken dreams. So I won't turn from what is right, even if I stand alone tonight. There's a peace I've come to know that the loudest world can't overthrow. And when the weight is hard to bear, when it feels like no one's there, I'll remember what is true. Something unseen is pulling through. Every tear, every fight, every step into the night. It's not wasted, not in vain. It's refining through the pain. So I'll keep moving, I won't stop, even when I reach the top, because I've learned it's not the height, but the truth that gives me life. And if you're lost along the way, if your skies have all turned gray, just hold on a little more. There is something worth it for. You are stronger than you know, even when it doesn't show. There's a reason you're still here. There's a purpose drawing near. So take this breath and stand again. You don't have to understand, just keep walking, don't let go. There is more than you can know.
I've been walking through a desert in my mind, where every answer feels so hard to find. The echoes of my past keep calling me, reminding who I used to be. I try to run, I try to hide away, but distance never took the weight away. Every road I thought would set me free just brought me back to what I couldn't see. And in the stillness of a broken night, I felt a spark, a distant light, not loud enough to steal the pain, but strong enough to make me stand again. It whispers softly through the doubt, there's more to you, don't count it out. The path you fear, the one unknown, might lead you where you've never grown. So I stayed when everything said run, face the dark instead of turning numb. And slowly, piece by piece, I found a deeper strength beneath the ground. I saw the ones who chose to remain through loss, through failure, through the pain. They didn't bend to every fear. They held to something stronger, clear. Not built on things that fade away, not shaken by a darker day, but grounded in a truth so deep it held them when they could not keep. And I began to see it too, a quiet force that pulls us through. Not always seen, not always heard, but stronger than a spoken word. So now I walk, though I don't know every turn or where I'll go, but something in me feels aligned with the purpose I can't yet define. If I fall, I'll rise once more, stronger than I was before. Not because the road is kind, but because I've changed inside. There's a fire that won't let go, even when the winds will blow. There's a voice that calls my name through the loss and through the pain. So I won't trade this path I'm on for something easy, something gone. I've seen enough to understand what truly helps a soul to stand. It's not the fame, it's not the gain, it's not escaping every pain, but choosing truth when no one sees, standing firm in honesty. And if the night feels far too long, if everything feels like it's wrong, I'll remember why I began and hold on to the truth I can. There's a light that leads us through every fear we ever knew, not in power, not in mind, but in choosing what is right. So take my hand if you feel lost. Even hope comes with a cost, but what you gain will always be more than what you used to see. We are shaped by what we choose, not by what we fear to lose. And in the end, when all is gone, truth is what we're standing on. Through the silence, through the fall, through the rise that follows all, there's a meaning we can find in the depths we leave behind. So I'll keep walking, I won't stray, even if I lose my way. There's a truth that pulls me through, and it's calling me and you.
I was standing at the crossing of 1,000 different roads. Every path was calling me, but none felt like my own. Voices in the distance said, take the faster way, but something deep inside me kept asking me to stay. I've seen the rise and fall of everything that shines, watched it fade like morning mist that disappears with time. What we chase can leave us empty, even at the top. What we build without a core is bound to slowly drop. So I stepped away from everything that pulled me far, turned my eyes from distant lights and closer to my heart. There I found a quiet place that time could never steal, a deeper kind of strength, a truth I couldn't feel before. It didn't promise easy roads of freedom from the pain, but gave me something stronger than a shelter from the rain. A reason just to keep on going when I can't explain why I'm still standing in the middle of the strain. So I walk, though I don't know every answer down the road, but I trust what's growing deep, something real that I can keep. I saw the ones who held their ground when everything was crashing down, not because they could control, but because they knew their soul. They didn't need to win the race, they didn't chase a higher place. They built their lives on what is true, even when the storm broke through. And now I feel it in my chest, a steady beat that will not rest, calling me to something more than I have ever known before. If I fall, I'll rise again, with the strength I found within, not from what I've gained or lost, but from what endured the cost. There's a fire I can't deny, even when I question why. There's a light that doesn't fade, even in the darkest shade. So I won't turn from what is right, even if I stand alone tonight. There's a peace I've come to know that the loudest world can't overthrow. And when the weight is hard to bear, when it feels like no one's there, I will hold to what is true, something unseen pulling through. Every step, every scar, every time I've gone too far, it was leading me right here to a place beyond my fear. So don't give up, don't let it go. There is more than you may know, even now you're not alone. There's a strength that's being grown, and one day you'll see what this journey came to be. Every moment, every tear had a purpose drawing near. We are more than what we chase, more than titles, more than place. There's a meaning we can find when we quiet down our mind. So take a breath and stand again. You don't need to understand, just keep walking. I remember storming at the edge of giving in, with tired eyes and questions buried deep within. Every road I walked felt heavier than before, like I was searching, but not sure what for. I carried dreams that slowly lost their light, fading in the middle of the longest night. Try to hold on, try to stay the same, but something in me kept calling out my name. Not from the noise, not from the crowd, not from the voices shouting loud, but from a place I couldn't see, yet somehow it was leading me. It said, don't quit, you're closer than you know. Even in the dark, there's a deeper flow. What feels like loss is not the end, it's shaping who you're meant to become, my friend. So I stood still when I could have run, faced the shadow, didn't turn or numb. And in that moment something changed, the quiet strength began to rearrange. I saw the ones who chose to stay through broken nights and endless gray. They didn't leave when hope was thin, they held the line from deep within. Not for praise, not for reward, not to be seen or to be adored, but because something true inside gave them the strength they couldn't hide. And I began to understand the power of a steady stand, not built on things that fade away, but something that will always stay. So now I walk, though unsure still, but grounded in a deeper will, not chasing what will disappear, but holding what is always near. If I fall, I won't remain buried underneath the pain. I'll rise again, not as before, but stronger at my very core. There's a fire won't burn out, even buried under doubt. There's a truth that still remains, flowing deeper than the pain. So I won't trade this path I found for hollow dreams or fragile crowns. I've seen enough to finally know what truly helps a heart to grow. It's not the fame, it's not the game, it's not avoiding every pain, but choosing right when no one sees, standing firm with honesty. And when the road is hard to bear and it feels like no one cares, I'll remember why I began and hold on to the truth I can. There's a light that leads us through every fear we ever knew. Not in power, not in might, but in choosing what is right. So take this hand if you feel lost. Even hope can come with cost, but what you gain will always be more than what you used to see. We are shaped by what we choose, not by what we fear to lose. And in the end, when all is gone, truth is what we're standing on. Through the silence, through the fall, through the rise that follows all, there's a meaning we can find in the depths we leave behind. So I'll keep walking, I won't stray, even if I lose my way. There's a truth that pulls me through and is calling me and you.
I was holding on to something I could barely feel, like a fading echo of what used to be real. Every step I took felt heavier than before, like I was walking through a never-ending war. The sky was gray no matter where I turned my eyes. Every hope I built was wrapped in thin disguise. I tried to fix the pieces breaking in my hands, but nothing ever followed all my careful plans. Then in a moment I could not explain, between the silence and the pouring rain, I felt a quiet presence in the air. Not
wouldn't break, those storms would rise. There was a fire behind their eyes, not chasing things that fade away, not living just for yesterday, but grounded in a deeper truth that gave them strength to carry through. And slowly I began to see that same kind of strength in me, not loud or bright for all to view, but real enough to pull me through. If I fall, I'll rise again, not as who I might have been, stronger in the way I stand, with open heart and steady hands. There's a fire that won't go out, even buried deep in doubt. There's a light that still remains, shining softly through the pain. So I won't trade this path I'm on for something easy, something gone. I've come too far to turn around. There's something real that I have found. It's not the fame, it's not the gold, it's not the stories that are told, but choosing right when no one sees, holding on to honesty. And when the night is long and cold, when every fear begins to hold, I'll remember what is true. There is something pulling through. Every tear and every fight, every step into the night is not wasted, not in vain. There is meaning in the pain. So I will keep moving ahead, even when I feel misled, trusting something I can't explain, through the loss and through the gain. And if you're walking through it too, feeling like you're almost through, hold on just a little more. There is something worth it for. You are stronger than you feel. There is something deep and real. One way you will clearly see who you were meant to be. Through the silence, through the storm, through the places you feel torn, there's a truth that will remain, calling you beyond the pain. There was a night I almost let the darkness win, with shattered thoughts and silence underneath my skin. The world kept moving, but I stood there standing still, trying to outrun a pain I never could, until every dream I held was slipping through my hands like grains of sand I couldn't understand. I kept pretending I was stronger than the fear, but the louder that I smiled, the more I disappeared. And somewhere in the middle of the breaking down, I heard a quiet voice beneath the noise around. It didn't speak in thunder, didn't ask for more. It simply said, keep walking, there's something worth fighting for. So I took one step, then one more through the night, though I could barely see beyond the fading light. And every mile I thought would pull me further down began to shape the kind of strength I'd never found. I saw the people who had walked this road before, the ones who carry scars but still became much more. They didn't hide the weight, they learned to carry on. They found a deeper reason to keep moving when the hope was gone. They didn't rise because the road is smooth and clear. They rose because they chose to face their deepest fear. Not for glory, not for fame, not for applause, but because they knew some things are worth the cost. And I began to see my story differently. The broken parts were not the end of me. Every tear, every fall, every goodbye was teaching me how to survive. Now I stand where 'cause I know the strongest hearts are often made in the darkest nights and the deepest pain. There's a fire that the storm cannot erase, a quiet light that time cannot replace. It keeps burning when the world turns cold, reminding me there's more than what I hold. If I fall, I'll rise again somehow. Not because I have all the answers now, but because there's something stronger than my fear. And so it has been waiting all these years. So I won't chase the things that disappear, the empty words, the false and shallow cheers. I want a life that means more in the end, a heart that stays, a soul that doesn't bend. And when the road is longer than I planned, when I feel too weak to even stand, I remember every moment that I made it through, and know there's still a reason to continue. There's a light beyond the clouds above, there's a strength that rises up through love. There's a voice inside that says don't stop, even when you feel you've given all you've got. So if you're standing on the edge tonight, thinking there is nothing left inside, hold on just a little longer, don't let go. There is more ahead than you could ever know. Ooh. Every wound can turn into a door, every ending can become much more. Every broken piece can still be made brand new, and there is still a future waiting for you. We are not defined by where we fall, but by the way we rise above it all. And in the end, when everything is through, the truth you held is what will carry you. I was walking through a season I could not explain, where every step I took was shadowed by the rain. Nothing felt certain, nothing felt secure. Even the things I trusted didn't feel pure. I held on to memories that slowly slipped away, tried to keep the past alive, but it wouldn't stay. And in the middle of the loss I couldn't see, there was something deeper forming inside of me. It didn't come with answers, didn't ease the pain, didn't stop the tears from falling in the rain. But in the quiet, in the unseen space, I felt a steady strength I couldn't replace. It whispered softly, you're not here by chance. Even in the fall, there's a greater plan. What feels like breaking, what feels like the end, is shaping a truth that will not bend. So I stood still when I wanted to run, face the dark instead of coming undone. And slowly something started to change, a deeper kind of peace began to rearrange. I saw the ones who stayed through it all, through every rise and every fall. They didn't walk away when it got hard, they held on to something beyond the scars. Not for the praise, not for the gain, not trying to escape the pain, but because deep inside they knew there's something real you must hold to. And I began to feel it too, a quiet strength that pulled me through. Not loud, not bright for all to see, but strong enough to carry me. If I fall, I'll rise again, not the same as I was then, but stronger in the way I stand, with steady heart and open hands. There's a fire that won't burn out, even buried under doubt. There's a light that still remains, flowing deeper than the pain. So I won't chase
this way. I want something that will last, even when the storm has passed. And when the road is hard to see, when it feels too much for me, I will trust what I can't explain, through the loss and through the pain. Every tear and every fight, every step into the night, it's not wasted, not in vain. There is purpose in the pain. So I will keep moving on, even when the strength feels gone. There's a reason I still stand, even when I don't understand. And if you're walking through it too, with the sky that's lost its blue, hold on just a little more. There is something worth it for you. Are stronger than you feel. There is something deep and real, and one day you will clearly see who you were meant to be. Through the silence, through the storm, through the places you feel torn, there's a truth that will remain, calling you beyond the pain. I've been standing at the edge of all I used to know, watching every certainty begin to come undone slow. The ground beneath my feet didn't feel the same, like everything I built was drifting out of frame. I try to hold the pieces, try to make them stay, but time kept pulling everything away. And in the space where I had nothing left to prove, I felt a quiet pull I didn't choose. It didn't shout, it didn't force my hand, it didn't promise I would understand. But deep inside, beneath the fear and doubt, it gave me strength to keep on walking out. It said, you don't need to see it all right now, just take the step your heart allows. Even when the road is unclear, there is something guiding you from here. So I let go of needing every sign, and step beyond the boundaries of my mind, into a place where I could barely see, but somehow it was calling out to me. I saw the ones who chose the harder way, who didn't leave when skies turned gray. They carried something stronger than the storm, a quiet fire that kept their spirit warm. Not built on things that fade with time, not chasing every fleeting climb, but grounded in a truth so deep it held them even in their sleep. And slowly I began to feel that same kind of strength become more real. Not loud enough for all to hear, but strong enough to draw me near. If I fall, I'll rise again, with the strength that comes from within. Not the kind that tries to hide, but one that walks through what's inside. There's a fire that won't grow dim, even when the light is thin. There's a truth that still remains, flowing deeper than the pain. So I won't trade this path I've found for hollow dreams or fragile crowns. I've come too far to turn away. There's something real that's here to stay. It's not the fame, it's not the gain, it's not escaping every pain, but choosing right when no one sees, standing firm with honesty. And when the night feels far too long, when everything feels like it's wrong, I'll remember why I began and hold on to the truth I can. There's a light that leads us through every fear we ever knew. Not in power, not in might, but in choosing what is right. So take this hand if you feel lost. Even hope can come with cost, but what
when all is gone. Truth is what we're standing on. Through the silence, through the fall, through the rise that follows all, there's a meaning we can find in the depths we leave behind. So I'll keep walking, come what may, even if I lose my way. There's a truth that pulls me through, and it's calling me and you. I was standing in the middle of a turning tide, with everything I knew drifting far behind. The weight of all the years pressed on my chest, every answer fading into guess. I tried to build a future I could understand, with careful steps and tightly folded plans. But life kept breaking through my fragile frame, showing me that nothing stays the same. And in the ruins of what I held so tight, I found a spark that didn't need the light. It didn't shout, it didn't draw a crowd, but in its silence it was strong and proud. It said, you don't have to hold it all, even the strongest hearts can fall. What matters isn't what you keep, but what you choose when it runs deep. So I released the fear I couldn't name, stopped trying to control the endless game. And in the space where I had once held on, I found a strength that had been there all along. I saw the ones who chose a different way, who didn't leave when skies turned gray. They stayed through loss, they stood through pain, and found a reason to remain. Not built on things that fade with time, not chasing every distant climb, but rooted in a truth so real, a quiet force they didn't need to reveal. And I began to see it too, a deeper kind of strength break through, not loud or bright for all to see, but steady as eternity. Oh, if I fall, I'll rise again, stronger than I've ever been. Not because I know it all, but because I've learned to stand through fall. There's a fire that won't burn out, even buried deep in doubt. There's a light that still remains, flowing deeper than the pain. So I won't chase what disappears, or build my life on empty fears. I want something that will last, even when the storm has passed, and when the road is hard to see, when it feels too much for me. I will trust what I can explain, through the loss and through the pain. Every tear and every fight, every step into the night, it's not wasted, not in vain. There is purpose in the pain, so I will keep moving on, even when the strength feels gone. There's a reason I still stand, even when I don't understand. And if you're walking through it too, with a sky that's lost its blue, hold on just a little more. There is something worth it for. You are stronger than you feel. There is something deep and real, and one day you will clearly see who you were meant to be. Through the silence, through the storm, through the places you feel torn, there's a truth that will remain, calling you beyond the pain.
I've been walking through the echoes of a distant past, where every step I took felt like it wouldn't last. Holding on to fragments of a fading dream, trying to become what I was never meant to be. I chased the noise, I followed every shining light, but all it gave me was another restless night. The more I reached for what the world defined, the more I felt I was leaving myself behind. Then in the quiet, where no one else could see, I felt a shift unfolding deep in me. Not sudden, not a storm, not a flashing sign, but something steady, something more aligned. It said, you don't have to prove your place, you don't need to run this endless race. What matters most is who you are when no one sees beneath the stars. So I let go of everything I couldn't keep and faced the fears I buried far too deep. And in that moment something came alive, a stronger heart I didn't have to hide. I saw the ones who walked a different road, carrying unseen silent loads. They didn't break, those storms would rise. There was a fire behind their eyes, not chasing things that fade away, not living just for yesterday, but grounded in a truth so strong that helped them carry on. And I began to understand the quiet power of where you stand, not reaching out for empty praise, but walking through the hardest days. If I fall, I'll rise again, not the same as I was then, but stronger in the way I stand, with open heart and steady hand. There's a fire that won't burn out, even buried deep in doubt. There's a light that still remains, flowing deeper than the pain. So I won't trade this path I found for hollow dreams or fragile crowns. I've come too far to turn away. There's something real that's here to stay. It's not the fame, it's not the gain, it's not escaping every pain, but choosing right when no one sees, standing firm with honesty. And when the night feels far too long, when everything feels like it's wrong, I'll remember why I began and hold on to the truth I can. There's a light that leads us through every fear we ever knew, not in power, not in might, but in choosing what is right. So take this hand if you feel lost, even hope can come with cost, but what you gain will always be more than what you used to see. We are shaped by what we choose, not by what we fear to lose. And in the end, when all is gone, truth is what we're standing on. Through the silence, through the fall, through the rise that follows all, there's a meaning we can find in the depths we leave behind. So I'll keep walking, come what may. Even if I lose my way, there's a truth that pulls me through, and it's calling me, and you both. On the subway ride home, staring at your reflection, wondering if you made it through or just passed another day. Another quiet night with a heavy heart, and no clear reason why it feels
this way. Endless messages, a never-ending to-do list, a world that never seems to slow down. Some days it feels like you're the only one standing still, not even sure where you're headed now. But it's okay right here where you are. You don't have to be perfect to keep going, even if you can't see it yet. Your path is slowly forming. One small choice, one quiet act of courage, that's how tomorrow starts to change. It doesn't have to be something big. One step is enough to rearrange. Lost in comparisons, shrinking inside, scrolling through someone else's highlight life, forgetting that your pace is yours alone. You don't have to run their race tonight. You're not late, you're just on a different road. You're not wrong, you're still becoming. It's okay to not look like the rest. Your story's only just unfolding. Even in moments you feel like breaking, there's something in you that stands again. You might not know how to explain it, but you can feel it deep within. All this doubt, all this pressure will one day make a kind of sense. What feels like time you're losing now is building something strong and dense. Holding on is still a choice. Pausing doesn't mean you're done. Starting over isn't failure. It's proof you're still moving on. If you're out of breath, that's alright. Lean for a second, take your space. Just don't let go of everything. You're not someone meant to be replaced. No one sees how hard you try, and that's okay, it still counts. Even when it goes unnoticed, your effort quietly amounts. Go a little slower if you need to, shake a little, it's alright. As long as you don't lose your direction, you'll find your way in time. The longer the night feels endless, the clearer the morning becomes. One day this chapter you're living now will explain where your strength comes from. So just once more, hold on today. Don't give up before you see the answer you've been searching for. Might be closer than you think it could be. And someday you'll look back at now with a quiet, knowing smile, saying, I made it through somehow. And that made everything worthwhile. Another morning, same alarm, same ceiling, same quiet question, am I doing this right? Coffee getting cold beside your thoughts as you prepare to face another fight. Deadlines chasing, expectations rising. Every step feels measured, every move defined. Trying to keep up with the world that's running while you're still searching peace of mind. Notifications never seem to stop, voices telling you who you should be. But somewhere underneath the pressure, there's a version of you still trying to breathe. You don't have to win it all today, you don't have to have it figured out. Sometimes surviving the moment you're in is stronger than living without doubt. It's okay to feel lost in the middle of a life that hasn't made full sense. You're not behind, you're in the process, building strength through every tense. Late nights staring at the ceiling, thinking of roads you didn't take, wondering if you missed your moment or if it's just a slower wake. But timing isn't always loud, sometimes it whispers soft and low, guiding you through unseen paths only your heart is meant to know. You are not defined by pressure, not by numbers, likes, or views. There's a deeper kind of meaning in the path that you choose. Even when you feel invisible, like your effort fades away, every quiet act of persistence is shaping who you'll be someday. You don't need a perfect plan, you don't need to rush your pace. Growth is not a race you're losing, it's a journey you embrace. Some days will feel heavier than others, like the sky is closer than before. But even then there's strength inside you, you've made it through worse and more. Take a breath when it gets too much, step outside, reset your mind. The world will still be there tomorrow, but this moment is yours to find. There's no shame in taking your time, no weakness in slowing down. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not to let yourself drown. You've come further than you realize, through silent battles no one saw. Every scar you try to hide is proof you kept standing tall. And even now in this uncertain place, where nothing feels completely clear, there's something steady deep within, quietly telling you, stay here. Stay in the fight, stay in the moment, even when it feels unclear. Because the version of you you're becoming is already drawing near. The story isn't over yet, this is just a turning page. Every chapter filled with struggle is setting up your next stage. So keep going, even slowly, keep believing. Even tired, there's a fire that hasn't left you, it's just waiting to be inspired. And one day you'll see it all, how the pieces fell in line. Every step, every question was leading you to something right on time. The screen lights up before the sun does. Another day begins without a pause, scrolling through 1,000 different lives while questioning your own. Because you check the time, already running, another schedule packed too tight. Chasing something just out of reach, from morning rush to silent night. Voices echo through expectations, be more, do more, don't fall behind. But no one really talks about the cost it takes inside your mind. You smile like everything is steady,
close, a quiet signal telling you why you're still here. You don't need to match their timeline, you don't need to fit their frame. Not every path is meant for speed, not every fire needs a flame. Some roads are built in silence, some winds don't make a sound. Some growth happens slowly, where real strength can be found. Even now when doubt surrounds you and the weight feels hard to bear, there's something in you still rising, even if you're unaware. Every moment you kept going when giving up felt justified. Every time you chose to stay when something in you almost died. Those are the chapters that define you, not the ones the world can see, but the ones you fought in silence that shaped who you're meant to be. It's okay to question everything, it's okay to not feel strong. You don't have to have all the answers to know where you belong. Sometimes direction comes from breaking, sometimes clarity from pain. Sometimes losing what you held on to makes room for something greater to remain. You're not failing, you're evolving, even when it feels unclear. Every step, no matter how small, is still bringing you nearer, nearer to a version of yourself that you haven't met just yet. Stronger than your past doubts, brighter than your deepest regret. So don't rush the becoming, don't force what's not aligned. Some things take time to unfold, some truths take time to find. Even in the quiet moments when the world feels far away, there's a strength that's being built that no one can take away. And when you finally see it clearly, looking back on where you've been, you'll realize every fragile moment was where your strength began. So hold on through the questions, hold on through the unseen. You're closer than you think you are to everything you're meant to be.
Another late night with the city still awake. Lights outside your window, but inside it's hard to feel. You replay every word you didn't say, every chance you think you let slip through your hands. The noise never really leaves, does it? Even in silence, it finds a way back in. 1,000 thoughts all speaking at once, and none of them letting you rest. You try to hold it all together, like if you loosen your grip it might all fall apart. So you carry more than you should and call it strength, even when it hurts. But strength isn't always holding on. Sometimes it's learning how to breathe again. Sometimes it's letting the weight fall off your shoulders and trusting you'll still stand in the end. You don't have to prove your worth every day, you don't have to earn the right to exist. You're allowed to pause, to feel, to reset without thinking you've somehow missed. There's a quiet truth you keep overlooking, hidden beneath the pressure and pace. You are not behind, you are not too late. You're exactly where you need to be in this space. Even the days that feel wasted, even the nights that feel too long, they are not empty, they are shaping a deeper, unshakable kind of strong. You've survived moments you thought would break you. You walked through fire no one saw, and even now you're still here breathing. That alone rewrites every flaw. It's okay if your progress looks messy, if your healing doesn't move in a line. Real growth rarely follows a pattern, it unfolds in its own time. Some days you feel like you're slipping, like everything's falling behind. But even in those fragile moments, you're still moving, just in a different kind. Not every step has to be forward, not every win has to be seen. Sometimes the strongest movement is simply staying in between. Staying when it's easier to run, trying when it's
easier to quit, believing when it makes no sense, holding on when nothing seems to fit. There's something powerful about that, about choosing to stay in the fight, even when the outcome is uncertain, even when you can't see the light. Because life doesn't always come loudly, sometimes it grows quietly inside. And the way you keep showing up, and the way you refuse to hide, you are becoming something deeper, something steady, something real, not built on noise or validation, but on everything you feel. So don't rush past this chapter, don't wish this moment away. Even now, something is forming that will matter one day. And when you look back on the season, through the distance of time and space, you won't just see the struggle, you'll see the strength it gave. So take another breath slowly, let it ground you where you stand. You don't have to have it all together, you just have to take the next step you can, and that is already enough. Another day begins before you're ready, the weight of everything already on your chest. You open your eyes, but not your heart yet, still searching for a moment of rest. The world moves fast without asking, pulling you into its endless race. Deadlines, pressure, silent comparisons, all written across your face. You tell yourself to just keep going, even when your energy runs thin. Smiling through conversations while fighting quiet battles within. No one really sees the effort, no one hears the thoughts you hide, the nights you stayed up overthinking, the tears you never let outside. But there's a truth you keep forgetting in the middle of all this strain. You've been stronger than you realize, walking through invisible pain. You don't need to carry everything, you don't have to stand alone. There's a strength that meets you softly, even when it's never shown. Not every answer comes in clarity, not every path is clear and bright. Sometimes you walk through long uncertainty before things slowly turn right. And that's okay, that's part of growing, that's how depth is truly made. Through every doubt and every question, through every moment you were afraid. You are not falling behind, you are not losing your way. You are building something deeper with every single day. Even when it feels repetitive, like nothing's really changed, small steps are still moving forward, even if they feel restrained. The quiet discipline of showing up, the courage just to try again, that's where real transformation starts, that's where new stories begin. Some days will feel overwhelming, like you're carrying too much weight, but even then there's something in you that refuses to break. You've made it through your worst days, even when you thought you wouldn't. You found a way to keep breathing, even when you felt you couldn't. So don't dismiss how far you've come, don't overlook your fight. Every scar, every hidden tear is proof you chose to rise. There's no perfect version of this journey, no flawless path to take, only real steps, real moments, and the choices that you make. Sometimes slowing down is wisdom, sometimes resting is strength. You don't have to prove your worth by pushing past your lane. Take a breath, let it settle, feel the ground beneath your feet. You're still here, still moving, even in quiet defeat. And that matters more than you know, more than any fleeting wind, because the way you keep on going is where everything begins. So keep walking through the ordinary, through the days that feel the same. There's something quietly unfolding, even if it has no name. And one day you'll look around you and realize what you've become, not
because you rushed the process, but because you didn't run. So hold on just a little longer, trust what you cannot yet see. There's a future slowly forming that's already reaching out to you. And when it finally meets you, you'll understand somehow that every step, every moment was leading you here, right now. The alarm cuts through a restless morning. You reach for a day you didn't choose. Half awake already, carrying the quiet weight you never lose. Same routine, different worries, same road under changing skies. You tell yourself just keep it moving, while something deeper asks you why. Crowded trains and glowing screens, everyone rushing somewhere fast. You wonder if they feel it too, or if you're the only one who's asked. What if this isn't all there is? What if there's more beneath the noise? More than numbers, more than timelines, more than chasing borrowed choices. You keep performing, keep producing, keep pretending you're okay, but truth has a way of rising even when you push it away. There's a quiet space inside you, untouched by all the pressure outside. A place that doesn't need approval, a place where nothing has to hide. You don't visit it too often, there's no time, you say no room, but it's still there, still waiting, even in the middle of the gloom. And maybe strength is found right there, not in how much you can endure, but in the moments you stop running and let your restless heart feel sure. You are not a machine of output, not a checklist to complete. You are more than your efficiency, more than every task you meet. Even the days that feel unproductive, even the hours lost in thought, they are not empty or wasted. They're shaping something you forgot. Something softer, something deeper, something real beneath the pace. A version of you still forming that no rush could ever replace. You don't have to rush your healing, you don't have to force your growth. Some things bloom in their own timing, some truths come when you need them most. And yes, the road may feel uncertain, yes, the future might seem blurred, but not every answer comes in clarity. Sometimes it's found in a single word. A quiet yes, a gentle no, a step you take despite the fear. A moment where you choose to stay even when escape feels near. These are the things that build your story, not the moments loud and bright, but the choices made in silence in the middle of the fight. You've come through more than you remember, held on longer than you planned. Even now, with all your questions, you are still here, you still stand. So maybe that's enough for now. Not perfection, not control, but simply showing up again with honesty inside your soul. Let the world rush past if it wants to, you don't have to match its speed. There is meaning in your slowness, there is power in your need to pause, to breathe, to realign, to listen to what's true. Not what they expect you to be, but what's quietly calling you. And when you start to follow that, even just a little each day, you'll notice something shifting in the choices that you make. Less fear, more clarity, less noise, more space to grow. Less chasing what's not yours, more becoming what you know. And it won't happen all at once, there's no sudden perfect view, just small awakenings over time that slowly reshape you. So don't rush past this moment, don't dismiss where you are now. There is something sacred forming, even if you don't know how. And one day looking back at this through distance you can't yet see, you'll realize this quiet struggle was where you learned to be free. The day begins before you're ready, a soft glow from a screen in the dark.
You check the time, already behind, before you've even made a start. Same ceiling, same quiet tension, same thoughts you try to leave behind. They wait for you in the morning silence, like unfinished echoes in your mind. You get up anyway, keep moving, because stopping feels too hard to face. So you dress yourself in I'm okay and step back into the race. People passing, lives in motion, everyone with somewhere to be, but no one really shows the weight of who they are beneath what you see. You wonder if they feel it too, that quiet pressure in the chest, the constant pull to be more, do more, and never quite allowed to rest. And somewhere in between the noise, between the rush and expectations, there's a question you keep avoiding about your direction and your foundation. Are you living or just reacting? Are you choosing or just pulled along? Are you building something meaningful or just trying to belong? But maybe it's okay to question. Maybe doubt is not your enemy. Maybe it's the start of something real, a shift toward clarity. Because not every answer comes quickly, not every truth arrives on time. Some things take a breaking moment before they start to realign. You've been holding more than you admit, carrying weight you never chose, and still you show up every morning, even when your energy runs low. That matters more than you think, more than any perfect plan, because the courage to continue is where real strength began. You don't need to prove your value, you don't need to earn your place. You are not a number, not a label, not defined by speed or pace. Even when you feel invisible, like your effort disappears, there's a quiet accumulation of every unseen year. Every time you didn't give up, every time you chose to stay, every moment you kept breathing, even when you felt like walking away. That's the part of you that's real, not the image you display, but the version that keeps rising at the end of every day. And yes, some days will feel heavier, like you're stuck in the same place, like no matter how hard you're trying, you can't seem to change the pace. But growth doesn't always feel like progress. Sometimes it feels like being lost. Sometimes it looks like going in circles. Sometimes it comes with a cost. Still, something is shifting within you, even now as you read these lines. A quiet awareness, a deeper knowing that your life is more than timelines. You don't have to rush the process, you don't have to force the change. Some transformations happen slowly, far beyond what you can arrange. Just keep showing up honestly, keep choosing what feels true. Even in small, quiet moments, that's where the real change moves. Take a breath when it overwhelms you. Step back when you need space. There is strength and self-awareness. There is power in your pace. You are not behind, you're becoming, you're becoming. You are not stuck, you're unfolding, you're unfolding. This is not the end of your story, This is the part worth holding. And one day you'll look back at this, not with regret, but with grace, realizing all the pressure you felt while shaping your inner place. You wake before the sunlight reaches a quiet room, a restless mind. Another day already waiting before you've had the time to unwind. You check your phone out of habit, endless updates, endless noise. A world that never seems to pause, filled with pressure, filled with choice. So many paths, so many voices, telling you who you should become. But none of them can really answer where your own direction comes from. You move through hours on autopilot, task to task, no space to feel. Smiling just enough to get by while wondering what's actually real. There's a version of you underneath it, buried deep beneath the pace. Not lost, just waiting quietly for you to slow down and face the questions you keep avoiding. Face the fear you've learned to hide. Face the truth that's been whispering from somewhere deep inside. What if you stop for a moment, not to quit but just to breathe? Not to fall behind the world but to reconnect with what you need. Because running doesn't always lead you, sometimes it just wears you down. And chasing what was never yours only turns your world around. You don't have to carry everything, you don't have to prove your worth. You are not here just to survive. You are allowed to feel your own life first. Even the slow days matter deeply. Even the quiet ones have weight. They are the space where clarity grows, where real change starts to take shape. You are not defined by your output, not by how much you achieve. There's more to you than what you finish, more than what the world can perceive. There's a strength in staying present, even when it feels unclear. There's a courage in being honest about what you truly fear. I know you don't have all the answers, but you don't need them today. Sometimes the next right step is enough to slowly find your way. Even when everything feels uncertain, even when nothing seems right, there's something steady within you, still guiding you through the night. You've made it through more than you remember, more than you give yourself credit for. Every time you thought you'd break, you found a way to endure. That's not weakness, that's resilience. That's not luck, that's your core. The quiet power of continuing when you can't take anymore. So let go of perfect expectations, let go of who you think you should be. You are allowed to change direction. You are allowed to be free. Freedom isn't always loud. Sometimes it's choosing your own pace. Sometimes it's saying this is enough and giving yourself space. Space to grow, space to rest, space to understand your mind, space to rebuild your energy and leave the pressure behind. You are not behind in life, you are not running out of time. Your journey doesn't need to match any other design. Trust the process even slowly. Trust the path you cannot see. There's something forming in the silence, The night felt longer than it should have, thoughts circling, refusing to rest. You close your eyes, but not your mind, still carrying everything in your chest. Morning comes without permission, light slips quietly through the shade. Another day you didn't plan for, another version of you being made. You sit for a moment in stillness before the noise begins again. The fragile space between breathing, where you don't have to pretend. But the world won't wait forever, it pulls you back into its flow. Deadlines, faces, expectations, places you feel you have to go. So you move even if you're unsure, even if your energy feels low, because something inside keeps whispering, don't stop now, just go slow. And maybe that voice is enough, not loud, not clear, but true. A quiet kind of direction that keeps returning to you. You don't have to understand it, you don't have to see the end. Just follow what feels honest and let it slowly bend. Bend the path you thought was fixed, bend the rules you thought you knew. Not everything that shaped your past is meant to define you. There's more inside you waiting, more than what you've shown so far, more than all the silent limits that told you who you are. You've outgrown versions of yourself that once felt safe and real, or maybe that's why it feels so heavy to not know how to feel. But growth often feels like confusion, like standing in between what you used to hold on to and what you haven't yet seen. That space can feel uncertain, like you're floating without ground, but it's also where new meaning and new direction can be found. So don't rush to fill the silence, don't force yourself to decide. Some clarity comes slowly when you stop trying to hide. You are allowed to not have answers, you are allowed to take your time. This isn't something you're behind in, this is part of your climb. Even now as doubt surrounds you, as fear tries to take control, there's something deeper still within you that remains steady in your soul. It's the part of you that kept going when everything said to stop, the part that rises quietly every time you drop. You don't need to be fearless, you don't need to be strong all the time. You just need to keep choosing to move, even one small line. One small step, one soft decision, one breath when it feels too much. These are not insignificant moments, they are your deepest touch to who you are. Becoming to the truth you're growing into, not what the world expects from you, but what feels real and true. And one day, without warning, you'll feel something shift inside, a calm you didn't have before, a strength you can't deny. Not because everything is perfect, not because the road is clear, but because you kept going, even through uncertainty and fear.
So stay with it, stay present, stay honest with where you are. You don't have to have it all together to know you've come this far. And when you finally look back at the nights that felt too long, you'll see they were shaping something that made you quietly strong.
The morning comes in quietly, before you made peace with the night. Thoughts still lingering in the background, carrying yesterday's unfinished fight. You reach for something familiar, a routine that keeps you steady, even if your heart feels uncertain, even if you're not quite ready. Outside, the world keeps moving without asking how you feel. Everyone chasing something urgent while you're searching for something real. It's easy to get lost in motion, to confuse movement with meaning, to fill your time with endless tasks, while your deeper self is leaning towards something quieter, something slower, something true. Not the noise of constant pressure, but a path that feels like you. Still, it's hard to slow down when everything says go faster, when rest feels like you're falling behind and pause feels like disaster. So you push through another day, holding more than you should, calling exhaustion normal just to feel like you're doing good. But deep inside you know it, there's more than just getting by, more than ticking off boxes, more than letting days pass by. You weren't meant to disappear inside a cycle of repeat. You weren't meant to lose your voice in the rhythm of retreat. There's something in you asking, not loudly but enough. What if there's a different way? What if you've been strong enough? Strong enough to choose differently, strong enough to slow your pace, strong enough to face the silence and not rush to fill the space. Because silence isn't empty, it holds the things you avoid, the questions you keep delaying, the truth you once destroyed. But also something beautiful, something waiting to be heard, a sense of direction forming in the absence of every word. You don't have to solve your whole life, you don't need a perfect plan. Sometimes the next right step is simply doing what you can, even if it feels uncertain, even if it feels small. Consistency in quiet moments build something stronger than it all. You've been through more than you admit, held together more than you show. And even now, with all your doubts, you're still choosing not to let go. That matters more than perfection, more than appearing in control. Because real strength is often hidden in the way you guard your soul. So give yourself a little space to breathe, to think, to feel. Not everything needs fixing now, some things just need to heal. You are not falling behind, you are not out of time. You are walking through your process one moment at a time. And yes, some days will feel unclear, like you're drifting without aim. But even then, there's movement happening
even if it looks the same. Growth doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like rest. Sometimes it feels like standing still. But deep inside, you're doing your best. So trust that something's shifting even when you cannot see. Trust the quiet evolution of who you're meant to be. And one day it will make sense. All the moments you questioned why, you'll see how every uncertain step was leading you to something right. So for now, just keep going, not perfectly, just true. Because the life you're slowly building is already reaching back for you.
You wake up with a quiet heaviness, not loud enough to explain, but real. A kind of weight that follows you before you even choose to feel. You move through motions automatically, brushing thoughts aside to function. Another day of silent effort, another round of self-instruction. Keep it together, don't fall behind. Just get through what's on your plate. But no one really talks about how much it costs to operate. You give your energy away in pieces, to tasks, to people, to endless demands, until you're left with fragments of yourself slipping through your own hands. And still you show up anyway, even when your mind feels tired, even when your heart feels distant, even when your spark feels expired. That quiet persistence matters more than anything you display, because continuing when it's hardest is a strength that won't decay. You don't need to prove your worth, you don't need to earn your space. You are not a product to be measured, not a number to replace. Even when it feels like no one notices, even when it feels unseen, there's a deeper kind of growth happening in every place you've been, in every moment you stayed when leaving felt easier to choose, and every time you held on when you felt you had nothing to lose. That's where your foundation forms, not in perfect shining days, but in the quiet hidden battles you fight in countless ways. It's okay to not have clarity, it's okay to question everything. Sometimes uncertainty is the doorway to a deeper understanding. You don't need to rush your healing, you don't need to rush your pace. Some things take time to untangle, some truths need their own space. And maybe right now isn't about answers, maybe it's about staying present, about learning to sit with yourself without needing to escape it. Because within that stillness, there's something steady and true, not shaped by noise or pressure, but something that belongs to you. A sense of direction slowly forming, a quiet knowing you can trust, not based on fear or comparison, but built from something just enough to guide your next step, just enough to help you move. You don't need the full picture to know what you should choose. Even now as things feel uncertain, even now as doubts appear, there's something inside you holding steady, something that's been there for years. It's the part
emotional cost. That part of you is still alive, still breathing, still aware. And maybe that's all you need to know, that it's still there. So take a breath, let it settle. You don't have to rush ahead. You don't have to silence every thought that's circling in your head. Let yourself be human in this moment. Let yourself not have it all figured out. There is strength in honest living. There is growth in every doubt. You are not behind in life. You are not too late to begin. Every day is still an opening to step into who you've been. And one day, looking back at this, you won't just see confusion or pain. You'll see the moment you kept going and chose to rise again. So for now, just stay with it. Stay grounded, stay aware. You don't need to have all the answers to know you're getting somewhere. And that is enough for today.
You open your eyes before the world feels ready. A quiet tension sitting in your chest. Not quite fear, not quite clarity, just the weight of needing to do your best. The ceiling looks the same as yesterday, but something in you feels slightly changed. Maybe it's the questions getting louder, or the way your thoughts feel rearranged. You stepped into another routine, one more cycle of doing and trying. But underneath the surface of your focus, there's a part of you still quietly asking why. Why does it feel like you're running, but never quite arriving anywhere? Why does silence feel so heavy, like it's holding more than you can bear? So you fill your time with movement, with noise, with purpose, with control. Anything to keep from facing the quiet corners of your soul. But those corners aren't your enemies. They're not there to pull you down. They hold the parts of you you've hidden, the truths you haven't fully found. And maybe it's time to listen, not to the world, but to yourself. Not to what's expected of you, but to what you've kept on the shelf. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't need a perfect direction. Sometimes growth begins in questions, not in immediate correction. Even confusion has a purpose. Even doubt can guide your way. It points to what really matters. It reveals what you can't ignore or delay. You've been strong for longer than you think, carrying things you never chose, holding together your own world while no one really knows. And still you keep moving forward, even when it feels unclear, even when your energy fades, even when you're filled with fear. That kind of persistence is rare, that quiet endurance is real. It's not something that fades away, it's something no one can steal. So don't rush past where you are. Don't dismiss your current place. Even this moment has meaning. Even this has its own pace. You are not behind in your story. You are not too late to grow. Some journeys take longer paths to reach what they need to know. And yes, the road may feel uncertain. Yes, the future may seem far, but you
become someone else. You don't have to fit a mold. You are allowed to evolve naturally without being rushed or controlled. Take a breath when it feels too heavy. Let yourself pause without guilt. Rest is not a sign of weakness. It's where deeper strength is built. You are allowed to feel everything. The confusion, the fear, the doubt. These are not signs you are failing. They are part of figuring it out. And one day things will feel different. Not suddenly, not all at once, but gradually, like a quiet sunrise after a long and restless month. You'll notice the way you respond, the way you think, the way you stand. A little more grounded, a little more certain, a little more understanding of who you are and who you can. So for now, stay patient with yourself. Stay kind to where you've been. You are still in the process, and that's where all growth begins. Keep moving, even if slowly. Keep believing, even when unsure. There's something forming deep within you. Something steady, something pure. And when you finally see it clearly, you'll realize it was always there, guiding you through every moment with the quiet, constant care bells. You wake into a world already moving before your thoughts can find their place. A quiet rush begins inside you before you even start the race. The light creeps in through half-closed curtains, but your mind is miles away, running through a list of worries before you've even faced the day. You reach for something to hold on to, a plan, a goal, a sense of control. But life doesn't always follow structure, and certainty isn't always the goal. Some days feel like repetition, like you're circling the same ground, trying to break out of the pattern, but unsure how to turn around. And in those moments of frustration, it's easy to think you've lost your way, like progress should be louder, like change should come without delay. But growth is often hidden beneath what you can't yet see, working quietly in the background, shaping who you're meant to be. You are not stuck, even if it feels that way. You are not failing, even if it's slow. Some paths are meant to take their time, so deeper roots can grow. There's something in you still learning, still adjusting, still becoming. Even when it feels like nothing's changing, something inside is always moving. You've carried more than you admit, held yourself together through it all, even when no one else noticed, even when you felt small. That strength didn't come from nowhere, it was built in unseen ways, in the quiet decisions to keep going through your hardest days. And still you question your direction, still you wonder if it's right, but maybe clarity doesn't arrive all at once. Maybe it grows with time and light. You don't need a perfect answer, you don't need a flawless view. You just need a small direction that feels honest and true. Even one step is enough, even one choice can shift the flow. You don't have to see the whole path, just trust the part you know. There's no shame in taking longer, no weakness in slowing down. You're not here to match a timeline, you're here to build something profound, something real, something lasting. Not rushed, not forced, not loud, something that reflects your truth, not something shaped to fit a crowd. So let go of the constant pressure, let go of who you think you should be. There's a freedom in being just be, to breathe without expectation, to exist without comparison, to take in the moment fully without needing validation. You are allowed to change your path. You are allowed to redefine what success and meaning look like in a way that aligns with your mind. And yes, it may feel uncertain, yes, it may feel unclear, but uncertainty isn't failure. It's a sign that something real is near. Because real change doesn't come easy. It asks you to let go and trust, to walk forward without full clarity, to rebuild what feels unjust. And you are capable of that more than you realize right now. You've already proven it in ways you just forgot how. So take this moment as it is, not perfect, not complete, but meaningful in its own way. A quiet place where you can meet yourself without judgment, without pressure, without fear, and listen to what's been waiting beneath the noise you always hear. There's a direction forming there, not loud but steady and clear, guiding you one step at a time, through every doubt, through every tear. And one day you'll look back here at the place you almost gave in, and you'll be grateful you stayed, because this is where you begin. So keep going even uncertain, keep moving even slow. You are not lost in this moment. You are exactly where you need to grow.
You wait before the day feels ready. A quiet tension in your chest, not quite fear, not quite clarity, just the pressure to do your best. The room is still, but your mind is racing, running ahead of where you stand, trying to solve 1,000 questions before the day has even began. You reach for your phone, out of habit. A flood of noise fills up your space. Everyone seems to be going somewhere while you're still searching for your pace. It's easy to feel like you're behind, like time is slipping through your hands, like there's a version of you should be that you somehow don't understand. So you push yourself a little harder, ignore the weight, ignore the signs. Tell yourself you'll figure it out if you just keep crossing lines. But something in you keeps resisting, not loudly, but enough to feel a quiet pull in a different direction. Something slower, something real. It doesn't shout or demand attention. It doesn't compete with the noise outside. It simply waits for you to notice the part of you you've set aside, the part that doesn't need approval, the part that doesn't need a race, the part that knows you're not behind, you're just finding your own pace. And maybe that's where peace begins, not in having everything aligned, but in allowing space to exist without pressure in your mind. You don't have to rush your story, you don't have to chase every trend. Not everything that moves quickly is something you need to defend. There's a difference between motion and meaning, between doing and truly being. And somewhere in the quiet moments you start to notice what you've been missing. Not success, not recognition, but a sense of being whole, a connection to something deeper that lives within your soul. You've been carrying more than you realize, holding together more than you show. And even now you're still standing, even when your energy feels low. That's not weakness, that's resilience, that's not failure, that's your core. The ability to keep going when you can't give anymore. So don't ignore the need to pause. Don't mistake rest as falling behind. Sometimes stepping back is the only way to move forward with a clearer mind. Take a breath without rushing. Let your thoughts settle down. You don't need to fix everything. You don't need to carry the crown. You are allowed to just exist without proving anything at all. You are allowed to take your time without feeling
stuck. You are in between who you used to be and who you're learning to be seen.
That space can feel uncomfortable, like standing without solid ground, but it's also where transformation and deeper truth can be found. So stay here a little longer, don't rush to escape the unknown. There's something meaningful happening, even if it's not yet shown. And one day you'll look back on this, not as time you lost or wasted, but as the moment you slowed down enough to finally feel what you created. So keep going gently now, with patience instead of fear. You're not late, you're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be, right here. Yeah.
You wake into a quiet question that doesn't have a simple name, not loud enough to break your rhythm, but never quite the same. The ceiling holds your scattered thoughts like echoes from the night before. Things you try to push away are waiting gently at your door. You get up, step into motion like you've done 1,000 times, following patterns you've memorized, living between invisible lines. There's a pressure you can't quite explain, a subtle weight beneath your pace, not from one single moment, but from everything you've had to face. Still you move because you have to, still you try because you care. Even when your energy fades, there's something in you still there, something steady, something quiet, something that refuses to leave. Even when your mind is doubtful, even when it's hard to believe. You've carried more than anyone knows, fought battles you never showed, and even now you're still standing on a path you slowly chose that matters more than you realize, more than any outward sign, because the strength you've built in silence is something no one can define. You don't need to rush your journey, you don't need to have it clear. Some directions form in stillness, some answers take time to appear. Maybe that's where you are right now, not lost, just in between what used to define you and what you're beginning to see. That space can feel uncertain, like you're floating without ground, but it's also where new meaning and deeper truth are found. You are not behind in your story, you are not too late to change. You are moving at your own pace, even when it feels strange. There's no perfect path to follow, no single way to be, only moments that shape you into who you're meant to see. And even the ones that feel heavy, even the ones that confuse, they are not there to break you, they are there to help you choose what matters, what stays, what aligns with who you are. Not what the world expects from you, but what you feel in your core. You are allowed to change direction, you are allowed to let go, you are allowed to outgrow things that once felt safe to know. Growth is not always comfortable, it doesn't always feel right. Sometimes it comes in quiet shifts, sometimes it comes through the night. But even in the darkness, there's something guiding you through, not with loud directions, but with a sense of what's true. You don't need to control everything, you don't need to understand. Sometimes trust is simply walking without holding a full plan, and you've done that more than you think, step by step, day by day. Even when you felt uncertain, you still found your way. So don't overlook your progress, don't just miss how far you've come. Every quiet act of continuing is proof of what you've become. There's something ahead of you forming, even if you cannot see. A version of you that feels more grounded, more aligned, more free. And one day you'll stand in that place, looking back at where you've been, understanding all the questions where begin. So for now, just stay present, stay honest, stay aware. You don't have to have it all figured out to know you're getting somewhere. And that is more than enough, Kate. And that is more than enough, Katie.
We were walking through the noise, lost in endless echoes. Every voice was pulling us a different way. Promises were broken, roads were left unchosen. Still a quiet truth was calling through the gray. In the middle of confusion, there's a whisper in the storm, telling hearts to rise again, to not stay torn. Not by power, not by pride, not by who stands tall, but by courage to forgive. We can heal it all. When the crowd is divided and the lines are drawn, there's a deeper way to stand, a brighter dawn. Not by winning every fight, not by proving right, but by choosing what is good, even in the night. We don't need a crown to know what really matters. We don't need applause to walk the highway. Every step of kindness echoes even louder than the noise that tries to lead our hearts astray. Turn around, come back again to the place where truth begins. Not in anger, not in fear, but in love that draws us near. Even when the road is long and trust feels far away, there's a hand unseen that helps us not to sway, guiding through the silence, lifting when we fall. There's a greater strength that's moving through it all. Let the past be healed, let the distance close, let the broken bridges find a way to hold. Not by force, not by blame, not by who is strong, but by hearts that choose to walk where we belong. When the world is shouting louder than your soul, and the weight of doubt is taking all control, there's a quiet light inside us still remains, leading you to hope beyond the pain. Turn around, come back again to the place where truth begins. Not in anger, not in fear, but in love that draws us near. We rise not alone, but together as one. Through the battles we face, through the things we've done, there's a way to restore what was torn apart. It begins with a humble, open heart. So take one step, even if it's small. There's a purpose waiting in it all. Through the chaos, through the night, we are guided by a deeper light.
We were standing at the edge of everything we knew, where the past kept calling but the future pulled us through. Every step felt heavy with the weight of what went wrong, but a quiet voice kept saying you still belong.
In the middle of the tension, in the silence of the night, there's a path that's not about the need to win the fight, not about the loudest voice of proving who is right, but about the hearts that choose a deeper kind of light.
When the distance grows between what's broken and what's true, there's a bridge we build in every choice we make anew. Not with anger, not with pride, not with fear inside, but with courage to restore what we once pushed aside.
We've been chasing every answer in a world that never sleeps, looking for a truth that runs more than skin deep. But it's found in simple moments, in the way we choose to care, in the unseen acts of kindness and the love we choose to share. Turn around, don't run away. There's a better, higher way. Through the noise, beyond the fear, there's a truth that's always near.
Even when the trust is gone and walls are standing tall, there's a strength that rises up and gently breaks them all. Not with force, not with control, not with empty pride, but with patience that can heal what we hold inside.
Let the voices fade away that try to pull you down. You don't need their validation, you don't need the crown. There's a purpose in your steps, even when it's slow. Every seed of hope you plant is stronger than you know.
When the road divides and choices feel unclear, there's a quiet sense of direction always drawing near. It won't shout above the chaos, won't demand your fear, but it leads you gently forward, steady, calm and clear.
Turn around, don't run away. There's a better, higher way. Through the noise, beyond the fear, there's a truth that's always near.
We are more than all the battles we have tried to win, more than all the broken places deep within. There's a chance to start again, to rebuild, restore, to become a stronger version than we were before.
So take a breath and let the past release its hold. You don't have to carry everything you've ever known. There's a future being written in the steps you take, in the choices made with love, in the path you make.
Through the darkest nights, through the longest fight, there's a spark that never dies. There's an inner light guiding every heart that's willing to believe.
There is more ahead than what we cannot see.
So rise again,
Don't be afraid, every loss can be remade.
through the pain,
A new beginning, through surrender there is winning. Even in the quiet, even in the fall,
there's a hand that lifts you stronger than it all.
we were standing at the edge of everything we knew, where the past kept calling but the future pulled us through. Every road behind us whispered stories we outgrew. Still a deeper voice was saying there is more for you. In the middle of the noise, in the rush of every day, where the truth gets buried in the things we chase away, there's a quiet kind of wisdom that won't easily fade, leading hearts that listen to a higher, better way. We've been running through the fire, trying not to fall, carrying the pressure, trying to have it all. Every scar, a memory, every doubt, a call. But there's strength in choosing not to break at all. When the lines are drawn and everyone must choose a side, when the world gets louder, feeding anger, feeding pride, there's a different kind of power we can hold inside, a way that builds a bridge instead of divides. Turn around, don't lose your way. There's a truth beyond the gray, not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We don't need a shot to prove what we believe. We don't need a ticket to finally receive. There's a deeper kind of living we can all achieve when we learn to trust the things we cannot see. Even when the trust is gone and hearts are torn apart, even when the distance grows from heart to heart, there's a way to start again, a brand new start that begins with just one open, willing heart. Let the weight of yesterday fall to the ground. You don't have to carry every broken sound. There's a freedom and forgiveness to be found in the quiet, where a truer life is found. Through the chaos, through the pain, through the loss we can't explain, there's a reason, there's a light shining even in the night. When the road is long and the end is out of sight, take with gentle light. Not by power, not by force, not by staying on the same old course, but by choosing what is right, even when it costs the fight. We've been searching for meaning in a restless world, trying to find a place where hope can be unfurled, that is closer than we think. It's already there in the way we choose to love, in the way we care. Turn around, don't run away. There's a better highway through the noise, beyond the fear. There's a truth that's always near. When the silence speaks louder than the crowd, when your heart feels weak beneath the doubt, there's a whisper rising clear and unavowed, saying you are meant to stand. Not bad, even in the falling, never something more. Every closed door leads to another door. Every ending holds a seed of something new, a chance to rise, a chance to break through. We are not defined by all the things we've lost. Oh, not by every failure, not by every cost. Oh, there's a deeper identity we carry on, one that rises even when the strength feels gone. So take a step, even if it's small. You don't have to see the end at all. There's a purpose hidden in the climb, in every moment, in every time. Through the darkest night, through the longest road, through the heaviest and unseen load, there's a presence walking by your side, a steady strength you never have to hide. Let the anger fade, let the distance close, let the healing start in ways we chose. Not by blame, not by control, but by restoring every soul. Turn around, don't lose your way. There's a truth beyond the gray. Not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We rise again, not on our own, not by strength we've always known, but by something greater, deep and wide, flowing softly from inside. So breathe it in and let it go. There's a deeper path you're meant to know. Through surrender, strength is found. In the lost are found. And when the journey feels too long, and you forget where you belong, there's a light that still remains, calling you beyond the pain. We were standing at the edge, but now we see it was never just about what used to be. It's about the choice to rise, to finally be free, and walk the path of truth and dignity. So rise again, don't be afraid. Every broken piece can be remade. Through the fire, through it all, there's a voice that will not let you fall. We were walking through a world that never seemed to rest. Every moment pulling harder, every test upon a test, trying to find meaning in the chaos and the race, searching for a steady ground, a quiet place. Every voice was louder, every truth was hard to find, every promise fading somewhere in the back of our minds. Still a gentle rhythm beating softly in the dark, like a hidden kind of fire, like a never-ending spark. In the middle of confusion, when the road is split in two, there's a deeper sense of direction calling you. Not in rushing, not in fear, not in losing who you are, but in listening to the truth that's never far. We've been climbing every mountain just to prove that we are strong, carrying the weight of everything that went wrong. But strength is not in holding on to every scar. Sometimes it's purpose in our lives, in the way we love, in the way we ride. Not by standing over others, not by taking more, but by opening a different kind of door. One that leads to healing, one that leads to grace, one that brings a broken world a new embrace. Even in the waiting, even in the pain, there is something beautiful that will remain. Every moment shaping who we're meant to be, every step becoming part of destiny. So take a breath and let your heart be still. You don't have to climb every single hill. There's a path that's meant for you alone, one that feels like finally coming home. Through the fire, through the rain, through the loss, through the gain, there's a steady light that never fades. Even when the world feels unafraid, when the silence speaks louder than the crowd, when you feel too small to stand out loud, there's a voice within that won't let go, calling you to rise and grow. Turn around, don't lose your way. There's a truth beyond the grave, not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We rise again, not by chance, but by choosing every circumstance to become a little more than we ever were before. So don't be afraid to start again, even if you don't know where or when. Every ending holds a seed of everything you'll ever need. And when you feel like you can't go on, like the strength you had is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall, one that lifts you through it all. We're never meant to walk alone. Even in the unknown, there's a presence coming true, always walking next to you. So rise again, don't be afraid. Every broken piece can be remade. Through the night, through the climb, there's a truth beyond all time. We were chasing after something we could never clearly see, running through the noise of endless possibility. Every turn a question, every step a hidden cost, trying not to feel like everything was lost in a world that keeps on moving, never slowing down, where the silence feels uncomfortable and truth is rarely found. There's a deeper kind of calling underneath it all, a steady voice that rises every time we fall. We've been building up our walls to keep the pain away, hiding all the broken pieces we don't want to face. But healing doesn't happen when we choose to hide. It begins the moment we open up inside. Turn around, take it slow. There's a place you need to know, not ahead but deep within. That's where change will first begin. When the weight of every failure tries to pull you down, and the echo of your doubts is the only sound, there's a strength that's not defined by what you've done, but by the choice to rise and not to run. Not by power, not by fame, not by chasing after name, but by walking through the fire, holding on to something higher. We've been searching for a meaning in the rush of every day, looking for a truth that never seems to fade away, but it's found in quiet moments we often ignore, in the simple acts of love that open hidden doors. Even when the road is long and hope feels far away, even when your skies are filled with endless gray, there's a light that's breaking through you cannot is unclear and the answers feel delayed, and you're standing in the choices that you're scared to make. There's a gentle kind of courage growing deep inside, guiding every step with patience as your guide. Let the pressure fade away, let the fear release. You don't have to carry everything to find your peace. There's a freedom in surrender you can't deny. In letting go, you finally learn to fly. Turn around, take it slow. There's a place you need to know. Not ahead but deep within. That's where change will first begin. We are more than all the labels we've been given through the years, more than every whispered lie, every hidden fear. There's a truth about our worth that cannot be erased, no matter how far we've gone, no matter what we face. Not by standing over others, not by being first, but by quenching something deeper than the surface thirst. A kind of life that's rooted, steady and alive, in the way we choose to love, in the way we survive. Even in the waiting, even in the pain, there's a quiet kind of beauty that will still remain. Every moment shaping something we can't always see, every step becoming who we're meant to be. So take a breath, let your heart be still. You don't have to climb every single hill. There's a path that's meant for you to find, one that brings you peace within your mind. Through the fire, through the rain, through the loss, through the gain, there's a constant, there's a light guiding through the darkest night. When the silence feels heavy and your strength runs thin, and you're questioning the place that you are in, there's a voice that gently calls you by your name, reminding you that you are not the same. Turn around, don't lose your way. There's a truth beyond the gray, not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We rise again, not by chance, but by choosing every circumstance to become a little more than we ever were before. So don't be afraid to start again, even if you don't know how or when. Every ending carries seeds of everything your future needs, and when you feel like you can't go on, like the strength you had is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall, one that lifts you through it all. We were never meant to walk alone, even when the road's unknown. There's a presence calm and true, always walking next to you. So rise again, don't be afraid. Every broken piece can be remade. Through the struggle, through the climb, there's a purpose in your time. And when you finally look behind at the path you left in time, you will see through every scar. You become who you truly are. So keep moving, don't let go. There's a deeper truth to know. To the dark beyond the fight, you are guided by a greater line. So don't be afraid to start again, even if you don't know how or when. Every ending carries seeds of everything your future needs, and when you feel like you can't go on, like the strength you had is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall, one that lifts you through it all. In a world that keeps on moving, never slowing down, where the silence feels uncomfortable and truth is rarely found, there's a deeper kind of calling underneath it all, a steady voice that rises every time we fall. We've been building up our walls to keep the pain away, hiding all the broken pieces we don't want to face. But healing doesn't happen when we choose to where change will first begin. We were chasing after something we could never clearly see.
We were drifting through the days without a steady ground. Every step uncertain, every truth hard to be found. Chasing after echoes of a life we couldn't hold. Trying to find warmth in a world that felt so cold. Every night we wondered if we lost our way, if the choices that we made had led our hearts astray. But in the quiet moments underneath the noise, there was something calling us beyond the louder voice. In the middle of the chaos, in the breaking of the day, there's a path that gently leads you to a better way. Not in rushing forward, not in turning back in fear, but in standing still enough to finally hear. Turn around, take it slow, there's a truth you need to know. Not in power, not in pride, but in what you hold inside. We've been building up defenses, trying not to fall, hiding every weakness, trying to be it all. But strength is found in honesty and letting people see the parts we've been afraid to let them believe. When the distance grows between who we are and who we show, and the weight of silent battles is the only thing we know, there's a bridge that can be built with every honest start. A way back to connection, a return to the heart. Not by winning every argument, not by standing tall, but by choosing understanding we can heal it all. There's a deeper kind of wisdom that the world can't see in the power of humility. We've been searching for a purpose in the things we do, trying to prove our worth in ways that never felt like true. But purpose isn't something that we chase outside, it's awakened in the way we live and what we hold inside. Even when the road is long and hope feels far away, even when the colors fade into a shade of gray, there's a light that's softly shining you cannot ignore, leading you to something more. Through the questions, through the doubt, through the times you've been without, there's a rhythm, there's a guide moving gently deep inside. When the answers don't come easy and the future feels unclear, and you're standing in the silence with your deepest fear, there's a calm that slowly rises when you choose to trust something greater than the rush. Turn around, take it slow, there's a truth you need to know. Not in power, not in pride, but in what you hold inside. We are more than all the failures we have tried to hide, more than every broken dream we pushed aside. There's a deeper identity we carry through it all, one that rises every time we fall. Not by stepping over others, not by seeking fame, not by playing every endless empty game, but by living with intention clear and true in the little things we choose to do. Even in the waiting, even in the pain, there's a quiet transformation in the rain. Every moment shaping something strong and new, even when it's hard to view. So take a breath and let your heart be still. You don't have to climb every single hill. There's a path that's meant for you to find, one that brings you peace within your mind. Through the fire, through the rain, through the loss, through the gain, there's a constant, there's a light guiding through the darkest night. When the silence feels heavy and your strength feels gone, and you're wondering how you can keep moving on, there's a voice that gently tells you to remain. There is purpose in the pain. Turn around, don't lose your way, there's a truth beyond the gray. Not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We rise again, not alone, not by strength we've always
start again. Even if you don't know the where or when, every ending holds a chance for a new and better stance. And when you feel like you can't go on, like the strength you had is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall, one that lifts you through it all. We were never meant to walk alone, even when the road's unknown. There's a presence calm and true, always walking next to you. Through the darkest night, through the longest fight, there's a spark that never fades from sight, guiding every heart that dares to believe there is more than what we see. So rise again, don't be afraid. Every broken piece can be remade. Through the journey, through the climb, there's a purpose in your time. And when you finally understand, every moment shaped your stand. You will see through every scar, but in the center of your soul, we'll keep moving, don't let go. There's a deeper truth to know, not in power, not in pride, but in what you hold inside. So don't be afraid to start again, even if you don't know the where or when. Every ending holds a chance for a new and better stance. And when you feel like you can't go on, like the strength you had is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall, one that lifts you through it all. We were never meant to walk alone, even when the road's unknown. There's a presence calm and true, always walking next to you. Through the darkest night, through the longest fight, there's a spark that never fades from sight, guiding every heart that dares to believe there is more than what we see. So rise again, don't be afraid. Every broken piece can be remade. Though then standing still enough to finally hear. Turn around, take it slow. There's a truth you need to know, not in power, not in pride, but in what you hold inside. We've been building up defenses, trying not to fall. Every step uncertain of the truth, hard to be found, chasing after echoes of a life we couldn't hold. We were standing in the silence after everything was said, all the words still echoing inside our heads, trying to make sense of all the lines we drew, wondering if there's still a way to make it through. Every sigh was shouting, every heart convinced, holding on to moments we could not resist. But underneath the tension, underneath the noise, there was something calling us beyond our choice. In the middle of the vision, when the distance feels so wide, there's a deeper invitation pulling from inside. Not to stand in judgment, not to prove our right, but to step into a different kind of light. Turn around, come closer now. We don't need to fight this out. In the quiet, we can see there's another way to be. We've been building up our reasons, stacking every claim, holding on to pride like it's a shield against the pain. But healing never comes from pushing love away. It begins the moment we choose a better way. When the past keeps rising like a shadow in the night, and forgiveness feels too heavy, feels too far from sight. There's a strength that doesn't come from holding tight, but from letting go and choosing what is right. Not by power, not by name, not by winning in the game, but by hearts that dare to bend. That's where broken things can mend. We've been searching for a future we can finally trust, trying to rebuild what turned to dust. But every restoration starts with something small, a single step, a choice to stand and not to fall. Even when the road is long and hope feels out of reach, even when the answers seem beyond what we can teach, there's a quiet kind of wisdom we can learn in the moments when we choose didn't know there's a voice that gently calls you back again to a place where healing can begin. Turn around, come closer now. We don't need to fight this out. In the quiet, we can see there's another way to be. We are more than all the lines that we have drawn, more than all the battles we have stood upon. There's a deeper unity we can embrace when we choose a path of grace. Not by forcing change, not by standing tall, but by listening when the quiet starts to call. There's a truth that rises stronger than the fight. Oh, a way that leads us back to what is right. Even in the waiting, even in the pain, there's a chance to start again. Every moment holds a seed of everything we truly need. So take a breath, let your guard fall down. You don't have to wear that crown. There's a freedom in release, in the choice to live in peace. Through the fire, through the storm, through the moments we transform. There's a light that always stays, guiding through our darkest days. Oh, and the silence feels louder than the crowd, and you're struggling just to stand your ground. There's a strength that rises from within, telling you it's time to begin. Turn around, don't walk away. There's a brighter, better way. Not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We rise again, not alone, not by strength we've always known, but by something calm and true that's been waiting inside you. So don't be afraid to try again, even if you don't know how or when. Every ending clears the space for a new and better place. And when you feel like you can't go on, like the strength you had is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall, one that lifts you through it all. We were never meant to stand apart, separated by a guarded heart. There's a way to reconnect what's been undone, a way to finally become one. Through the longest night, through the hardest fight, there's a spark that never leaves your sight, guiding every step you choose to take, every move you dare to make. So rise again, don't be afraid. Every broken piece can be remade. Through the journey, through the climb, there's a purpose in your time. And when you finally understand, love was always the greater plan. You will see through every scar, you've become who you truly are. So keep moving, don't let go. There's a deeper truth to know. Oh, through the dark, beyond the fight, we are guided by a greater light. We were walking through the aftermath of words we couldn't take back. Every silence felt heavier than the weight of what we lacked. Trying to gather pieces scattered on the ground, hoping somehow lost things could still be found. Every step reminded us of roads we didn't choose, of moments we held on to that we needed to lose. But underneath the sorrow, beneath the doubt and fear, there was a quiet truth still drawing near. In the middle of the fracture, when the distance feels too wide, there's a deeper kind of calling rising from inside. Not to relive every failure, not to keep a score, but to open up a brand new door. Turn around, take my hand. We don't need to understand every reason, every why. We just need to try. We've been holding on to stories that keep us in the past, building walls from memories we thought would always last. But freedom comes in letting go of what we knew, making space for something real and something new. When the Voices in your head won't let you rest, and every choice feels like a never-ending test. There's a calm beyond the noise you can embrace in the stillness of a different place. Not by power, not by might, not by proving who is right, but by choosing what is true. Even when it's hard to do, we've been searching for a future we can finally trust, trying to rebuild what turned to dust. But every healing starts with honesty and the courage to just be, even when the night is long and filled with doubt. Even when you're lost and there's no clear way out, there's a light that's breaking through the unseen, a strength that lives in what has been. Through the rise and through the fall, through the silence, through it all, there's a rhythm you can find if you open up your mind. When the path is unclear and your heart feels torn, and you're standing at the place where hope feels warm, there's a whisper telling you to not give in, that this is not where it will end. Turn around, take my hand. We don't need to understand every reason, every why. We just need to try. We are more than every moment we regret, more than all the things we wish we could forget. There's a deeper truth about who we are, one that shines beyond the scars. Not by rising over others, not by standing tall, but by answering a deeper kind of call, a way that leads to healing and to peace, a place where all the striving starts to cease. Even the waiting, even in the pain, there's a chance to grow again. Every moment holds a seed of everything we truly need. So take a breath and let the tension go. You don't have to carry what you don't know. There's a freedom waiting in release. In the quiet you can find your peace. Through the fire, through the rain, through the loss, through the gain, there's a constant, there's a light guiding through the darkest night. When the silence feels louder than the crowd and you're trying not to break down loud, there's a strength that rises deep within, calling you to start again. Turn around, don't walk away. There's a brighter, better way, not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We rise again, not alone, not by strength we've always known, but by something calm and true that's been waiting inside you. So don't be afraid to try again, even if you don't know how or when. Every ending clears the space for a new and better place. And when you feel like you can't go on, like the strength you had is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall, one that lifts you through it all. We were never meant to stay confined in the limits of a guarded mind. There's a way to break beyond the fear, a path that's finally clear. Through the longest night, through the hardest fight, there's a spark that never leaves your sight, guiding every step you choose to take, every move you dare to make. So rise again, don't be afraid. Every broken piece can be remade. Through the journey, through the climb, there's a purpose in your time. And when you finally understand, you were always meant to stand, you will see through every scar. You become who you truly are. So keep moving, don't let go. There's a deeper truth to know. Through the dark, beyond the fight, you were guided by a greater light. We're standing in the middle of a story torn apart, every side holding pieces of a fragile, breaking heart. Trying to hold the line, trying not to fall, but something deeper kept on calling through it all. Every voice was louder, every truth was claimed, every memory we played, every wound unnamed. But beneath the surface, past the noise we made, there was a quiet path we somehow never chose to take. In the middle of division, where the distance feels so real, there's a deeper kind of healing we refuse to feel. Not in holding on to every right we try to prove, but in learning there's a stronger way to move. Turn around, lay it down. You don't need to wear that crown. In the silence you will find there's a peace for every mind. We've been carrying the weight of everything we said, all the words we can't erase, the echoes in our head. But freedom isn't found in trying to rewrite, it's found in stepping forward into what is right. When the past keeps pulling like a shadow in the night, and forgiveness feels too distant, too far from sight, there's a strength that doesn't come from holding tight, but from choosing to release and choosing light. Not by power, not by name, not by winning in the game, but by hearts that choose to bend. That's where broken things can mend. We've been searching for a future we can finally trust, trying to rebuild what turned to dust, but every restoration starts within, and the courage to begin again. Even when the road is long and hope is far away, even when the skies refuse to turn from gray, there's a dawn that's rising just beyond your view, a promise waiting there for you. Through the questions, through the doubt, through the times you've been without, there's a rhythm you can feel, something steady, something real. When the answers don't come easy and the night feels long, and you're wondering if you still belong, there's a voice that gently calls you back to truth, reminding you there's more than proof. Turn around, lay it down. You don't need to wear that crown. In the silence you will find there's a peace for every mind. We have more than all the battles we have tried to win, more than all the broken places deep within. There's a deeper kind of unity we can embrace when we choose a path of grace. Not by force and change, not by standing tall, but by listening when the quiet starts to call. There's a truth that rises stronger than the fight, a way that leads us back to what is right. Even in the waiting, even in the pain, there's a chance to grow again. Every moment holds a seed of everything we truly need. So take a breath and let your guard fall down. You don't have to wear that crown. There's a freedom in release, in the choice to live in peace. Through the fire, through the storm, through the moments we transform, there's a light that always stays, guiding through our darkest days. When the silence feels louder than the crowd and you're struggling just to stand your ground, there's a strength that finds us from within, telling you it's time to begin. Turn around, don't walk away, there's a brighter, better way. Not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We rise again, not alone, not by strength we've always known, but by something calm and true. It's been waiting inside you, so don't be afraid to try again, even if you don't know how or when. Every ending clears the space for a new and better place. And when you feel like you can't go on, like the strength you had is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall, one that lifts you through it all. We were never meant to stay apart, separated by a guarded heart. There's a way to heal what's been undone, a way to finally become one. Through the longest night, through the hardest fight, there's a spark that never leaves your sight, guiding every step you choose to take, every move you dare to make. So rise again, don't be afraid. Every broken piece can be remade. Through the journey, through the climb, there's a purpose in your time. And when you finally understand We were walking through the ruins of what we thought would last, holding on to fragments of a fading past. Every step a question, every breath a fight, trying to find our way back to the light. All the voices in the distance pulling us apart, every word a shadow on a fragile heart. We were standing at the edge of giving in, but something deeper stirred within. In the middle of the noise, when the truth feels hard to find, there's a quiet kind of clarity that speaks inside. Not in rushing forward, not in turning back, but in trusting there's a better path. Turn around, don't look away. There's a truth you can't betray. Not in fear, not in pride, but in what you hold inside. We've been chasing every answer, trying to feel control, trying to fill the emptiness inside the soul. But the more we hold, the more it slips away. There's a different kind of way. Not by power, not by might, not by proving we are right, but by choosing what is true, even when it's hard to do. When the past keeps knocking louder than the present call, and the weight of every failure starts to feel like, oh, there's a strength that rises gently from within, calling you to start again. Even when the road is long and hope feels out of reach, even when the silence says more than words can teach, there's a light that doesn't fade into the night, guiding you with steady sight. Through the breaking, through the fall, through the silence, through it all, there's a rhythm, there's a way leading you beyond today. When the future feels uncertain and the ground begins to shake, and you're standing at the edge of what you're scared to face, there's a calm that finds you when you choose to stand and let go of what you plan. Turn around, don't look away. There's a truth you can't betray. Not in fear, not in pride, but in what you hold inside. We are more than all the battles we have tried to win, more than all the hidden places deep within. There's a deeper kind of purpose we can find when we leave the past behind. Not by rising over others, not by standing tall, but by answering a deeper kind of call. A way that leads to healing and to peace, a place where all the striving starts to cease. Even in the waiting, even in the pain, there's a chance to rise again. Every moment holds a seed of everything we truly need. So take a breath and let your heart be still. You don't have to climb every single hill. There's a path that's meant for you alone, one that leads you home. Through the fire, through the rain, through the loss, through the gain, there's a constant, there's a light guiding through the darkest night. When the silence feels louder than the crowd, and you're trying not to break down loud, there's a strength that rises deep within, calling you to begin again. Turn around, don't walk away. There's a brighter, better way. Not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We rise again, not alone, not by strength we've always known, but by something calm and true that's been waiting inside you. So don't be afraid to try again, even if you don't know how. When every ending clears the space for a new and better place, then when you feel like you can't go, like the strength you have is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall.
memories can be remade. Through the journey, through the climb, there's a purpose in your time. And when you finally understand, you were always meant to stand. You will see through every scar. You've become who you truly are. So keep moving, don't let go. There's a deeper truth to know. Through the dark, beyond the fight, you were guided by a greater light.
We were standing at a crossroads we never thought we'd face. Every path uncertain, every step a test of grace. Holding on to questions we could never quite explain. Trying to find meaning in the middle of the pain. All the voices rising, telling us to choose. Every sigh convincing we had more to lose. But underneath the chaos, underneath the sound, there was something steady we had always found. In the middle of division, where the distance feels so wide, there's a deeper kind of calling we can't run or hide. Not in proving every point, not in standing tall, but in learning how to answer something greater than it all. Turn around, don't be afraid. There's a choice that can be made. Not in anger, not in fear, but in bringing hearts back near. We've been holding on to stories that keep us locked inside, building walls from every wound we try to hide. But healing starts the moment we release and take a step towards something more like peace. When the past keeps echoing louder than the truth, and the weight of every memory steals your youth, there's a strength that doesn't come from holding tight, but from choosing to step into the light. Not by power, not by name, not by winning in the game, but by hearts that choose to bend. That's where broken things can mend. We've been searching for a future we can finally trust, trying to rebuild what turned to dust. But every restoration starts within, in the courage to begin again. Even when the road is long and hope feels far away, even when the skies are covered up in gray, there's a dawn that's rising just beyond your sight, a promise hidden in the night. Through the questions, through the doubt, through the times you've been without, there's a rhythm you can feel, something steady, something real. When the answers don't come easy and the night feels long, and you're wondering if you still belong, there's a voice that gently calls you back again, reminding you where truth begins. Turn around, don't be afraid. There's a choice that can be made. Not in anger, not in fear, but in bringing hearts back near. We are more than all the battles we've tried to win, more than all the broken places deep within. There's a deeper kind of unity we can embrace when we choose a path of grace. Not by forcing change, not by standing tall, but by listening when the quiet starts to call. There's a truth that rises stronger than the fight, a way that leads us back to what is right. Even in the waiting, even in the pain, there's a chance to rise again. Every moment holds a seed of everything we truly need. So take a breath and let your guard fall down. You don't have to wear that crown. There's a freedom in release, and the choice to live in peace. Through the fire, through the storm, through the moments we transform, there's a light that always stays, guiding through our darkest days. When the silence feels louder than the crowd, and you're struggling just to stand your ground, there's a strength that rises within, telling you it's time to begin. Turn around, don't walk away. There's a brighter, better way. Not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We rise again, not alone, not by strength we've always known, but by something coming true that's been waiting inside you. So don't be afraid to try again, even if you don't know how or when. Every ending clears the space for a new and better place. And when you feel like you can't go on, like the strength you had is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall, one that lifts you through it all. We were never meant to stand apart, separated by a guarded heart. There's a way to heal what's been undone, a way to finally become one. Through the longest night, through the hardest fight, there's a spark that never leaves your side, guiding every step you choose to take, every move you dare to make. So rise again, don't be afraid. Every broken piece can be remade. Through the journey, through the climb, there's a purpose in your time. And when you finally understand, it was always in your hands. You will see through every scar, but in bringing hearts back near. So keep moving, don't let go. There's a deeper truth to know. Through the dark, beyond the fight, we are guided by a greater light. We were walking through the tension of a world that wouldn't slow. Every step a question, every answer hard to know. Holding on to fragments of what we believed was right, while something deeper pulled us gently toward the light. All the noise around us tried to shape the way we see, telling us that strength is in control and victory. But underneath the surface, there's a different kind of way, one that leads the heart beyond what words can say. In the middle of division, when the distance feels too wide, there's a quiet invitation calling from inside. Not to prove a point, not to take a side, but to find a place where truth and peace collide. Turn around, come back again to the place where truth begins. Not in anger, not in fear, but in drawing others near. We've been building up our reasons, stacking every claim, holding on to pride like it's a never-ending flame. But healing doesn't happen when we choose to stay the same. It begins when we release the need for blame. When the past keeps whispering louder than today, and the weight of every moment tries to pull you away, there's a strength that rises when you choose to let it go, a deeper kind of power you can come to know. Not by power, not by might, not by winning every fight, but by choosing what is true even when it's hard to do. We've been searching for a future we can finally trust, trying to rebuild what turned to dust. But every new beginning starts within the soul, in the quiet trust to let the broken become whole. Even when the road is long and hope feels far away, even when your skies are covered up in gray, there's a dawn that's rising just beyond your sight, a promise hidden in the darkest night. Through the questions, through the doubt, through the times you've been without, there's a rhythm you can feel, something steady, something real. And the answers don't come easy, and the night feels long, and you're wondering if you still belong. There's a voice that gently calls you back again, reminding you where healing can begin. Turn around, come back again to the place where truth begins. Not in anger, not in fear, but in drawing others near. We are more than all the battles we have tried to
So take a breath and let your guard fall down. You don't have to wear that crown. There's a freedom and release in the choice to live in peace. Through the fire, through the storm, through the moments we transform, there's a light that always stays, guiding through our darkest days. When the silence feels louder than the crowd and you're struggling just to stand your ground, there's a strength that rises from within, telling you it's time to begin. Turn around, don't walk away. There's a brighter, better way. Not in fear, not in control, but in the center of your soul. We rise again, not alone, not by strength we've always known, but by something coming true that's been waiting inside you. So don't be afraid to try again, even if you don't know how or when. Every ending clears the space for a new and better place. And when you feel like you can't go on, like the strength you had is gone, there's a deeper power in the fall, one that lifts you through it all. We were never meant to stay divided alone. Every fracture calling us to something strong. There's a way to heal what's been undone, a way to finally become one. Through the longest night, through the hardest fight, there's a spark that never leaves your side, guiding every step you choose to take, every move you dare to make. So rise again, don't be afraid. Every broken piece can be remade. Through the journey, through the climb, there's a purpose in your time. When you finally understand it was always in your hands, you will see through every scar you've become who you truly are. So keep moving, don't let go. There's a deeper truth to know. Through the dark, beyond a fight, we are guided